Okay, so now we're going to take a look at our quart flat top tiles and how to cut them. If you need to do a wall-to-wall installation and some of the tiles need to be trimmed, you will need to cut it eventually sometimes. There's also situations where if you don't use a ramped border strip, you may not want some of these tabs sticking out. So this is what that is for. If you have a nice power tool handy, that's going to be your best method, your best option. The tricky part about these tiles is that they do have a raised base on them. So to draw your marks on the underside is going to be a little bit more difficult. Typically we don't recommend that you mark on the surface. In this case you're probably going to want to, just because it's really hard to mark any sort of precise measurements on the underside of the tile. With that being said, typical pencil can work. Ballpoint pen, probably not going to see, in this case it's a dark tile. So you can see the pencil mark, but it's not real obvious. One thing that you may want to consider is window markers or chalk markers. The nice thing about chalk markers is that they don't, if you're working on a surface that's non-porous, they won't stick to it long term. So in this case, if I want to make a mark on where I want to cut this tile, it'll show up really well against that black background. But if I want to, say, when I'm done cutting, if I want to remove that line, it's as easy as wiping it off. So that might be something you want to consider when you're doing the cutting, or you're marking for the cuts. In this case, we always want to make sure that our blades are pointing down into your surface so that any rough edges that may occur will happen on the underside and it won't be obvious or cause any problems with your installation and leaving any rough edges on the top. So in this case, you can see the blades are pointing down into the base. You may find that it may jump a little bit when you hit the different thicknesses on the bottom here where you have all of these raised platforms. So don't be surprised if that happens. If you're cutting on a line, in this case it's got some very straight lines. If that measurement works out great for you, then you can go this way, and that'll actually be a little bit more stable going through the saw. But like I said, it's a little harder to mark if you're going in between anything. All right, so let's give this sawing a go. We've reached the maximum depth of this saw, so we'll need to turn it around. In this case, I didn't mark all the way to the end, so I am going to finish that mark just so I can have it as precise as possible. And we'll finish the tile. There you have it. Nice clean cut. Surface looks good. We can wipe away all the marks. And you can see there is some jagged edges on the underside, but those peel right off. And they really, in the overall scheme of things, will not matter.